Lawmakers in Washington admit $85 billion in automatic spending cuts may take effect by midnight. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Reek.
And I'm Katie Brennan. President Obama held a meeting to address the cuts today, but Republicans say there will not be a deal. NBC's Danielle Lee has more on the impacts of these cuts.
At the White House, the first serious sit-down between President Obama and congressional leaders to avoid the sequester came this morning. In Washington, I'm Danielle Lee, NBC News.
Senator Claire McCaskill announced today that she would like to introduce an amendment about the looming U.S. budget cuts. Since Congress can't seem to come up with an agreement on what cuts to make, McCaskill says it would be fair for members of the Senate and the House to cut their own pay.
So if we end up having to tell a federal employee you're only going to get a paycheck for 4 days a week, then we should only take the same kind of pay. So we're going to try to see if we can't get the Senate and the House to agree to cut our pay the way federal employees might have to be cut.
Now, here's what the potential budget cuts mean for mid-Missouri. One of the biggest cuts is to military spending. In Missouri, about 8,000 civilian Department of Defense employees would be temporarily laid off. This would reduce pay by about $40 million. Missouri Army operations would be cut by $56 million. Air Force operations in Missouri would be cut by $14 million. Teachers and schools could lose nearly $12 million in funding, and that puts about 600 teaching jobs at risk. Also, about 60 fewer schools would get funding. Finally, Missouri would lose funding for education for children with disabilities. Now, these cuts could certainly affect two mid-Missouri airports. The FAA plans to close more than 100 air traffic control towers across the country. Columbia Regional and Jefferson City Memorial are on that list.
Well, we don't think it's going to have any immediate effect on flights. What will happen if the air traffic control tower at Columbia is taken offline is that pilots will need to be a bit more vigilant in what they're doing, but they will work through an air traffic control center known as Mizzou Approach, which is based out of Springfield, Missouri.
SAP says Columbia Regional already works with Mizzou Approach during times of heavy traffic at the airport and is confident with its technology.